Hello coders, this is Pisky here. Welcome back to another YouTube tutorial. And on previous tutorial, I showed you how we can push our Docker image using Jenkins, and the Docker image is now on Docker repository. So in this tutorial, I want to show you how we can run the Docker image in our VPC. So let's get started. I have created this blog, and this is the blog that I'm talking about, master Docker Composer, and we want to run the project using the Docker Composer. So you can click the blog. So these are the key topics, like introduction to Docker Composer, step by step of creating Docker Composer file, and build a Docker image by Jenkins. I already showed you in the previous tutorial, so you are sorted. Setting up containers of Spring Boot application, configuring environments and networks, running and managing, and also I added some reverse proxying so that we can access our Spring Boot project via HTTPS for security reasons, and we are using Let's Encrypt. So in this tutorial, I'm showing you the practical how we can do DevOps the practical way. So here we need to create a Docker Composer YAML on our server. So let me create this file. So just copy the file, the Docker Composer YAML, and I'll explain to you the contents of it. So let me clear this. After doing this, let's create a new project and a new folder, make directory, and I can call it Spring Integration. This is the name of the. Then I get into this folder. Wrong spelling though, it's okay. Then I will say nano, and then Docker Composer YAML, and I'll copy the contents that are in here, and I'll add these contents. So here we have this Spring Integration. This is the name of the container when we are running our application, and also we have this is going to be our image name. So for our image name, we already pushed this image, and it's already on our GitLab repository. So this is the project Spring Boot third-party integrations. So as you can see, it built successfully. So I showed you how to do integration and CI/CDs. So after we push this your code, it will be deployed automatically to your Docker repository. So let me go to this GitLab CI, and I want to take the name of the Docker image. Just take the name here, and let's replace it here. After doing this, we have the ports and our ingress port. Like if someone is trying to access this Spring Boot project, a person can access it through the port 9095, and it will be redirected to the 9095. The second 9095, this one is for the Spring application, and this one is for the outside world. So that's the mapping of the ports here. And we created our network, which is API network, and this is the list of networks, the network. So on our network, this is the API network, and we are referencing it. When we are using a database, we want to add the database into the same network, so that if our service and the database are the same network, they can easily communicate. So we can we can put our applications or other services in the same network. So let's click Control X and then yes, and press enter. So right now we have saved our project. So what we can do right now, if you try to run this project, it will run. So Docker images, this one was created 9 days ago. So we didn't put the latest Docker image. So what we can do, we can just do this also. We can just do this Docker pull, copy this which we created yesterday. We just say Docker pull, and we can pull the latest one. So after doing this, we just say Docker images. You can see we want to run this project which was created 2 days ago. So we can just run Docker app. This one is supposed to run on port 9095 without any issue. As you can see, this one is running at port 9095. So after doing things, let's go to our documentation. Here we want to add refresh proxy for us to be able to access our application that is running here. So for us to access this application on this port, if I type code with BISC, let me try code with BISC at port 9095, and we have to access it on this one. Copy this, let's just try to access to see if we have any, if you are able to access. We are not able to access. It requires authentication. It means the port is open, so it's okay. So what we can do here in our, we just say swagger UI .html. So you can see this application is now running on the code with BISC VPS, and it's running on the port 9095. So if I come here and stop the service like this, and let me try to connect to this, you can see because I stopped the service, so no response is coming from the service. So here we want to add a reflex proxy. We don't want to access it via 9095. We want to say SB integration. This one is no longer needed. We want to access it via this domain, SB integrations .codewithbis.com, then API without the specifying the port name. Then we are this port is supposed to be closed so that it's safe for our to close the, for security reasons. It's safe to not to expose this port. So let's connect. Let's continue with this. Copy this. We want to add this on our server. So let's just say clear. Then let's copy this contents for reverse proxying. We can create this block, this server block. This is responsible for routing our request. So when the request is coming with the sb integration.codewithbis.com, it will route our request to this IP address 9095 with the port name as I showed you, and it's on HTTP. Don't worry about that. Then the logs in here. So after doing this, we can just click Ctrl X and then save, and we can add this into our sites enabled Nginx to be part of the Nginx here. After doing that, we just check if we have any error from this file that we edited. So far everything is okay, and we want to restart Nginx. But before I restart Nginx, I want to create this subdomain. So to create subdomain, for me, I use Contabo. So on this Contabo panel, you go to your domain. This is my domain, and I want to create a new record. So For the new record, the name, the subdomain will be this one, and the IP address of my server. So all the requests are going to the IP address of the server. So if I type this, the request will go to this server, and in this server, Nginx maps this subdomain to the config that we added and route it to the port 9095. Then I can say create record, and the record, this is the record has been added. So in here, let's go back to our blog. On our blog, we can restart Nginx by running that command. After running that, let's generate, I want to generate a certificate for this thing so that we can access it via HTTPS. I can do this, generate certificate for the new subdomain that we created, and I'm using Let's Encrypt. For you to be more familiar of this process that I'm going through, you can watch my DevOps tutorials. I have a playlist for DevOps tutorial when I set up this code with Biscuit server, say configuring Let's Encrypt, configuring everything Nginx to work like what is right now. So you can watch my DevOps tutorial. So after doing this, if I come here, right now the service is down, so I can just copy. Now I want to run this Docker Composer app with -d. This -d allows the application to run in background. So let me run with -d. So you can see the application is now running in background. So you can just say docker ps so that you can see the processes that is running. You can see it's now up for 8 seconds. So for you to see the logs, you just take the container ID and you just say docker logs -f. Then you can paste this one, and you can see the application is running in here, and we are seeing the logs of this service. So let's go to in here. Let's take this URL. Now we want to access this one via HTTPS. If you try to access it via this one, it also work, but we can access it also via HTTPS using the subdomain that we created. As you can see, we have managed to access our subdomain, our service, using the subdomain that we created on a Contabo, and we are now using HTTPS, and our request to this service will be secure, and we can try to access any of this service. Like if I try to test this one and click try out and then click execute, we'll be able to access this one. The problem that we have is because of the cause. We have to add this one on our project for cause, and you can see all our requests are now going through. So this is the test controller, but the problem was the cause. So the developer will need to add the cause to allow the subdomain to access the service. But right now the application is now working expected. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you are new to this channel, may you kindly subscribe and click the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I upload new video. Salut coders.